Hey everyone, this is Phil over here at Bird Street Brewing, downtown Lemoore. I just wanted to start making some video recaps about the state of the brewery, what we've got planned for you guys coming up, answer some questions that people might be asking us about, events and the future and different styles of beer and all of that we've got coming up. The first episode is going to be really rough. I don't have a script planned or anything. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head. But we've got a couple things that we want to bring up. First of all, I don't think we say this enough to our community, to people from all over the valley, especially Lemoore and the Lemoore Naval Air Base. Thank you for coming to our spot. Thank you for your continued patronage. It's great seeing first-timers come in here, and we still can't believe people are coming back. When we first started making beer, didn't taste that good. As you probably talk to a lot of home brewers, and no one's really ever proud of their first batch. But when we filled the paperwork out in 2014, I don't think 8 years later we were going to even be imagining being where we're at today. I tell people all the time I had a full-time job. Now this is my full-time job, and it's all thanks to the continued support from everybody that comes in here. So we do appreciate it, and we hope to be around for a while. Let's just get the stuff out of the way first. Last week we made, not our normal type of social media post. We try to keep things positive. We try to just let you all know about the new beers coming out, new events and things like that, or, if there's unfortunate closures or something like that. That's basically what we've always used social media for. We've tried to keep, the business side of things away. But every once in a while, we just, stuff gets too big to ignore. And this is one of those times. Just to give some background, we started the brewery in Lemoore because both my wife and I, the two, principal people that run Bird Street, are products of Lemoore. Her parents, raised her here. They've had their own business in town for over 30 years. My dad was stationed here when I was a kid. I went to Neutra Elementary in Acres on base, and graduated from Lemoore High School. We've basically spent our lives here, and we hear a lot of people talk about how they wish there was something interesting happening in Lemoore, and we figured, hey, you know what? Let's start the brewery here and see where it goes. And those first couple of years, we were just selling in bottles at various grocery stores and some gas stations, and we had a couple keg accounts. We were doing pretty well for ourselves. And then, when we moved into the building we're at now, we figured, hey, if half the people that bug us at the Brew Fest about opening up a tap room show up, we'll be pretty comfortable. And it really has been successful. And it's successful enough for me to focus on this full time and not have to have a day job anymore. But now, sure, we're open 3 days a week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We get people asking us all the time, open more days. Working on it. But the other 4 days of the week when I'm not open, I'm making the beer that y'all are drinking. So it's a balancing act. And we want to grow. We want to get bigger. We don't want to get too big. But we definitely want to expand upon what we're doing right now. And we're working towards that goal. And it's all, once again, thanks to the support of everybody that shows up. Anyway, when we first started the brewery, our very first brewery was a really, really small location. The landlord was gracious enough to save us that building, start doing some build out on some of the basic things that we needed. Didn't charge us rent until we finally got all the paperwork done and moved in. Had it almost a year, and we're really grateful that we weren't out of pocket for that. So that was a huge benefit. And when we started building the place out, we reached out to a lot of local people to help us build things like our brewing stand for our pots, local suppliers for things like our fermenters and our tanks. So we've definitely, been the benefit of a really helpful community that's eager to see us succeed. And that has not changed. We still see a lot of local support, people, offering to help whenever they can, people willing to work for beer. But we've been really blessed to have that kind of support in our community, and that has not gone unnoticed. We just wish that we kind of felt that way from municipal leadership. We've basically gone through 3 mayors since we've been in business. A couple different city councils and 1 city manager. So it's really hard for me to take leadership's word that they keep repeating over and over again that they are business friendly, that they're easy to deal with, that they're here for us, when it's not just Bird Street. But there's a lot of that sentiment in downtown that we're ignored. And it's unfortunate because there's a lot of really, really good business down here. There's a lot of really nice people, a lot of interesting stuff to go check out. And we don't expect the city to bend over backwards and, ignore zoning or, laws or stuff to give us what we want. And I think that's kind of what a lot of people expect is that we're demanding special treatment or, some sort of, I don't really know how to put it into words, but that's not it at all. We just want to be recognized as existing. And sometimes that's really hard for us to even feel like that's happening. So when we moved into this building a while back, we realized early on that the sanitation pertaining to garbage collection was really bad. There's basically a limited amount of dumpster space behind our building, and I can't believe I even have to complain about something like this. But when I spoke with the city, they told me the allocation of every business that's assigned those dumpsters, and added it all up in some simple math. There's just simply not enough dumpsters for the allocation that was provided. So I had brought that up, and speaking with some other businesses, they had no idea that there was an allocation. Some people, some smaller businesses, they might just throw like 1 bag a week in there. Some other places, they're throwing 2 or 3 bags a day, depending on what type of business they were. And, we were just trying to communicate, be mindful, because whenever we asked the city, hey, can you help us, kind of communicate these allocations, they just like, no, it's a you problem. It's not something that we're going to, communicate for you, because this is something that they should already know. So we had asked them, hey, if we generate a letter, can you put it on letterhead, and we'll even pay the postage, just so we can have it out as something from the city that, yes, this is your allocation, please be mindful, kind of thing. Shot us down, and then maybe a week or 2 later, we received a letter saying, hey, you guys are overfilling the dumpsters back there. you need to pay for, 2 or 3 times a week pickup, and here are the new rates for those dumpsters. So instead of providing us the adequate space for the allocation that they're providing, they just wanted to charge us more money for more frequent pickups. Didn't seem to be the right type of solution, but anyway, I did get my problem solved. Just full disclosure, like I have my own dumpster now, assigned to me, secured by me. So as far as Bird Street's concerned, we're not worried about sanitation. But it took through the height of the pandemic to get that resolved. Moving forward, speaking of the pandemic, when everything shut down, radial silence from leadership. Absolutely no outreach, no support, no accommodation. I'm speaking with some of my colleagues in other communities out throughout the valley, and they're talking about how, their cities and, other organizations within their communities are all doing outreach to shift roads to becoming, foot traffic areas only, so people can shift their businesses outside. Before the city published their encroachment permit on the front of the website, I had reached out and asked, hey, what do we have to do to get this done? And basically they said, you're on your own. You'd have to get a traffic survey done to study the impact of vehicle traffic if you wanted to shut down part of the street. You would have to be the person liable for alternate foot traffic routes if you took over the sidewalk and all of that kind of stuff. And even when they published that encroachment permit, it was the same deal. We tried to talk to them about it and say, hey, we need to shift outdoors. And they just flat out wouldn't accommodate us and, or anybody else downtown, really. We were, kind of just left with nothing, like no support. But thankfully we survived. It's unfortunate there's been some closures, and, I know there's a lot of frustration with some people who really felt like they were let down by the city. But there was a bright spot that happened. So with downtown merchants in Lemoore, we have a fund specifically for downtown. And the city changed the way that the downtown merchants funding is all managed. They dissolved the Downtown Merchants Association Committee and issued us a liaison who is a city employee who is the person that coordinates between the city and the merchants, the funding and all that kind of stuff. So we had a really, really fantastic liaison, and she was putting on some awesome events. She was great with communication. We finally had someone that we could reach out to kind of get stuff done. And it was a godsend. Compared to radio silence from the city, we had someone who was passionate about this town, wanting to get people back on their feet, wanting to get people shopping downtown. It was a breath of fresh air. And I say all that because I have to follow it up with, she retired not too long ago, and I did not find out about her retirement from anybody at the city. We found out about her retirement from a customer that came in. And, I feel like if the city really, was in touch or just concerned about what what the merchants feel like downtown, they would have at least extended the courtesy to tell us that person had retired, because there were people attempting to contact the retired liaison for events purposes or, other questions regarding permitting and things. And, obviously weren't getting return calls. So it's stuff like that. Actions speak louder than words. It's an old cliche, but it's 100% true, and it's the best use of example here. You can talk all you want about how you are business friendly, how you are trying, or how you care about the city. But until your actions, match up what you're telling me, it's hard for me to believe that. And I'm a relatively new business here. The tap room's been open 4 years. We've got businesses that have been here for decades. And my sentiment is the same as their sentiment. So it seems, it doesn't matter, if the council keeps wanting to blame councils of the past for not caring. I've heard that 3 times. It's hard to believe, a new set of faces when they keep issuing the same exact statements that the prior ones did. It just got frustrating. And, when I noticed that there's a lot of, usage of social media for people on council, I figured, hey, maybe this is the way we have to get through to them. Prior attempts at emailing, whether it was this council or prior councils, they don't get replied to. Phone calls were always difficult. I don't know if it's just people at the city not knowing how to use their phone system or anything more malicious than that. But the amount of times I've been transferred to non-existent extensions and hung up on really just took a toll on my patience. And I try to be a patient person. I don't try to, stir the pot if I don't have to. And I'd prefer not to. But at this point, I don't really know what else to do. And it's unfortunate because we really like this community and we like sticking around, and we've invested so much into this building, into our business, and to trying to grow, here and having the opportunity here in Lemoore. But, if we can't count on leadership, it really makes us question if everything that we're doing is worth it. And I say that because, we're not content with just having our one little tap room here. We keep an eye out for real estate opportunities, for growth opportunities. And if something feels right, we're okay with expanding to it. And that's kind of our next step. And we wanted to keep it in Lemoore, but, I don't know if you can fault us for considering other, communities, if that feels right when we, start talking with government and leadership. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I really hope that answers a lot of questions pertaining to like last week's post. I once again, I just can't reiterate enough that the community in Lemoore and everyone that comes in from other places to check our beers out, we sincerely do appreciate it. And, we take everything to heart. Good criticism, bad criticism, all of that. I keep telling everybody, I make beer that I want to drink. Everything up on there on that tap list is stuff that I sign off on. I'm not going to make a bad beer and say, well, you know what, I'm not drinking it. We'll just put it up there anyway. That just takes a spot away from a good beer. We try not to make bad beer, but hey, you know, sometimes it happens. Anyway, just a quick little update to this week. Yesterday we did do some brewing. Made another batch of the 3 hours. That's our strawberry blonde ale. Hopefully we don't have too much of a lapse. We are running a little low on our current batch, but hopefully, you know, things time up and this new batch is ready to take over when the old batch or not old, but the last batch is finishing up, so we don't have a break in strawberry blonde availability, because we know it's a super popular one, especially, you know, for the season, which we probably won't be making it past September. So depending on when this finishes the demand, we might do another batch of it in August, or we'll see what happens. This week we will be making another batch of Churro Vesa. I have a new label that I need to produce specifically for Churro Vesa, since it's a super popular to-go beer. And I'm getting kind of tired of handwriting Churro Vesa on our Crowler labels, so we want to make a Churro Vesa specific label. We're excited for it. We love the artwork that went to it, and hopefully we have that soon. We also are going to be making a really interesting saison. I know saisons aren't everyone's favorite, but I'm still on the quest to introduce it to more people, and hopefully, you know, we start finding some stuff that people really like. Y'all really love the Earl Verbena, so we're kind of using that game plan in future saisons, and we'll see how that one goes. We really hope that this one has, you know, some success like what the Earl Verbena had. That the reception for that one has just been insane. It's quickly become our bestseller, and we have no plans on stopping making it anytime soon. And then I have another plan to make another beer. It's probably going to be another hazy IPA. We hear the responses from what people have been asking for, and just a straightforward, you know, no frills, you know, no hybrid West Coast, no fruit added hazy IPA has been something that some people have asked for. So we're going to throw another one of those up. And we did just drop the Catch and Haze Session IPA last weekend, which truthfully, it surprised me how good it was. So we've got that going for you, but you know, we'll get a traditional, like, I don't know if you can really call them that yet, but we'll get a straightforward hazy up sooner than later. We're still going to be making beer. We're still going to be here. We're still going to be open. You know, like I said, we still love our community. We still want to offer you, you know, some really good beer, some, you know, good inviting times. So if you've watched this far, thank you so much. We hope to do this a little more often, maybe with some structure. You know, this is a really, really rough cut, but we'll see what happens in the future. So see you guys next time. Cheers.